This is going to be a podcast about our recent retreat experience. And for those of you who don't know, I'm Sam and this is Andre. Andre and I have been together for years and we co authored the entire Quantum series and started this entire business together. So you can thank us for everything we've created. But the retreats were specifically your idea. So tell us about the experience of hosting your first retreat ever from the perspective of like creating the experience and letting it unfold.
Okay, so when I first got the idea to do a retreat, this would have been last February.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been last February. I got the idea to do the retreat.
Oh, the February before last.
Okay, actually last year's February,
Yes.
not this one. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So the previous year, I got an idea to do the retreat. And I'd never done a retreat, and I'd never been to a retreat. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, I'd never been to one. It was just retreat. Like, really? Okay.
Intuitively?
Yeah, completely. It wasn't that it was a retreat. It was what I was seeing was a bunch of people from the community in a house that were learning from me at the time. So I didn't actually, since I had never actually done a retreat or whatever, I never heard of it. Like, so I ended up finding out one of the people who I had talked to about it, the idea, was like, oh, you mean like a retreat? And I was like, oh, is that what that is? Because I had heard people talk about retreats before, but I'd always dismissed it because it wasn't something it was of interest to me. And so I was, okay. I then, the thing just came together. I had announced that we were doing the retreat, that it was going to be here in Scottsdale, and I had gotten the house for it. Like, there was little to no planning involved. It was, I'm just doing this retreat. Okay. And it ended up filling out. Like, every slot was taken for the retreat. And that was like,
wow.
Whoa, right? There was 13 people at the first retreat. And it was really surprising for me to see that all these people were willing to come to the retreats. So at this point, I'm like, is this the direction I'm going? Am I doing these retreats? Because not only did all these people come, they came from all over the place. They came from all over the world to come to this retreat. So 13 people who just happened to find out about what we were doing. Next thing you know, they show up at our retreat in Scottsdale. So that was huge. It was like, okay, we're on to something here. Then I actually decided while at that retreat to do another retreat. I just decided to do it. I booked everything before we even finished the first retreat, right?
You're on the train.
Yeah, I was on the train. So I booked everything before that. And the next one was in Hilo, Hawaii. Okay. And that retreat, we kept 13 people. I realized from the first retreat was just it was a lot for me to keep up with. So I brought the number down. I didn't want to have more than a ton of people at this retreat, this second one. So I cut it in half, the people that would come to the retreat. Because I just being able to sit there and talk with 13 people over the course of a week was a lot for me. You know, just so much of your attention's being pulled. So I just was like, okay, yeah. So then I did it again. This was an iteration, right? So now in Hawaii, I go from that, like, half the amount of people, but I doubled the time. So instead of, so I have the people, but I did it 2 weeks. Now I kept getting told that no one was going to sign up for a 2-week retreat. That was insane.
Who told you that?
I got told by several people.
Wow.
But it didn't matter because people signed up for it. right?
We've hosted a lot of 2-week retreats.
We've held 3 at this point, 2 weeks, and people had absolutely no problem doing these retreats. In fact, these same people are like, man, why aren't these longer? Right?
Like, I want to be here for a month.
I want to be here for a month. Like, this is the shit. Like, I get so much done and this and other, and I get all this help and support, and everyone was just on the train.
Yeah.
So that was the second retreat. The third retreat was in Vegas. We went back up in number, but we cut down the time to a week again. But this one was much easier. I had stepped up, so I could handle that people, and we ended up having, again, 13 people filled out for Vegas. And that one went really well. And then the one after that was in Scotland. Yeah.
My first international retreat.
Yeah, that was in Scotland. I got the idea at Vegas. So I booked it again at the retreat. This is what we're doing. And then Scotland ended up being the biggest one that we had did at that point.
Yeah. We had people sleeping in like cupboards.
Yeah,
we had people sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, they just was like, yo, I'm there, right? Scotland was by far.
It was amazing.
Yeah. So that was dope. And people got a lot out of that. And that was another 2-week retreat.
Yeah.
Right. And then Greece, that was actually another one. So it's actually 4 2-week retreats that we did. So and again, people were still,
I'm there.
Yeah. You know, we've had so many repeat goers for the retreats because when they go, they get so much done. They get this whole experience.
It's like living a different life.
Yeah, they're living a different life during the time during the retreats. So, yeah, and then the last one we did, which was in Sedona, that one just ended as of at the time of this recording. Mm-hmm. And that one also, we did very differently than the previous retreats, but it went really well.
I want to reel this back a little bit because something that I see people asking is like, how the fuck was it that simple? How did you get this to work? You had people doubting you. You had people will put together retreats and they will spend months figuring out what they're going to do every step of the way, launching it, promoting it, making sure everything is perfect. But we literally have people sleeping. They're sharing beds. They're sleeping in closets. They have no idea what the fuck is going to happen. And it all works out. What is the difference between how you put something like this together versus how maybe someone in phase 1 or someone who doesn't have the awareness you do would put this together?
Well, you said it actually with the fact that people will be like, you can't do it that way. That's no one's gonna go to something like that. Yeah, and then they'll be like, well, no one's gonna pay for this kind of thing. Yeah, okay. Like people are paying to come to the retreat, and I'll tell people, like, I'm always transparent with people when they ask me about what's going on. Mm-hmm. Like, if I'm like, you want to come to the retreat? We don't have any more bed space. I tell people that. And they'll be like, no, it's fine. I can sleep on the floor. I can get an air mattress. It doesn't matter. Yeah. They do not care. They just want to go. And the difference is the fact, well, I don't know what other people do with their retreats. I do, at least in terms of like the internals, I do know that a lot of the time people's retreats be planned to the second. Mm-hmm. And I actually think that could be a deterrent because there are a lot of the people who end up going to the retreats, their lives are already planned to the second.
Yeah.
So, because I have a friend that is a frequent retreat goer, but he likes the idea of just having no plan, right? Mm. Which is actually where I even got the idea to do this retreats, the style that we do them anyway. Was because he was always going to these retreats and he would tell me, yeah, they always got them planned out and this and another. And I was like, that sounds boring. Like, I don't want that. Yeah. I don't want that type of experience. So if I would want to create an experience that emulates my lifestyle. And so when people meet me and they're like, whoa, what the fuck? Like,
this is how you live?
This is how you live, man?
What?
Right. It fucks them up. It wrecks their shit. Their entire being is destroyed. And I didn't do anything. I didn't plan anything out. Nothing. In fact, at the retreats, I just adapt to the moment that's happening. So if someone is going through something and then an idea pops up, I go, all right, cool. I can turn that into something that they can expand from. And then I do that. Okay. I don't plan anything in regards to the retreats. I don't plan the lessons. I don't plan the adventures. The only thing that I guess you could say I plan is the location. Okay.
Yeah, you book the place.
I booked the place.
We're just going.
Yeah. And then the rest is just whatever. When people ask me what to expect at the retreat, I tell them, don't expect anything.
Literally do not have
any expectations. Because expectations goes against the idea of what I'm telling people to not do. Like, don't have expectations when you come here. And every single time that we've done these retreats and people have come and I get the same thing. Like, wow, this was such an amazing experience because we do them so differently.
There's so many things about this. For those of you who are new here and haven't really interacted with us much before, could you describe briefly how you live?
Man, I just do whatever comes up.
Yeah.
This is a stark contrast to how most people live. They live their lives by a schedule, making sure that they're on time for every single thing that they do and that their lives are dictated by a Google Calendar. I don't. So if someone requests something of me, my time, my energy, I'll decide whether or not I give it in that moment. When people ask me if I want to do something in 2 days, I say, is it 2 days from now? And then they go, well, no, but then ask me in 2 days, right? Because I'm not going to tell them yes to something that I really don't know.
It's not happening right now.
Right, it's not happening at this moment. So I do everything I can to remain in the present moment when I am living. So when people come to the retreats, they experience that. Like, I address the things that are happening at the moment with them, their lives at that time. And then like what emotional experience they're going through. I'm not worried about what happened 20 years ago or any of that because none of that has anything to do with today.
It's irrelevant.
Right.
What's so interesting and so amazing and brilliant about that to me is how when you operate that way at a retreat, everyone gets very personalized attention and personalized feedback.
Yeah.
And at the same time, that personalized feedback becomes this class that everyone gets to be involved in and participate in that applies to them in its own unique way.
Yeah.
Everyone is always going through something similar at the same time, at least from the phase 2 perspective. Everyone who's involved in the retreat is there because they're supposed to be there.
Right.
So this eliminates so much need for research, planning, like asking people what they want to talk about. It's literally just in the moment.
Yeah.
We don't even plan meals. Like we have people, if they want food, they go to the store. If they don't have a car, they ask someone for help to drive them to the store. Like they get their food, they cook. Sometimes they cook for everyone. Sometimes they cook for themselves. It does not matter because in the present moment, you're eating or you're not.
Yeah.
It's like you get to decide. You get to do whatever you want.
So at the retreats, we give people that power back, the power to realize that it really is their choice, that it's their decision, that it's their life, and how they decide they are going to interact with that is entirely on them. Mm-hmm. We do not take responsibility for anything in their lives because we would not want to be responsible for someone else's life. Would you really want someone else to be responsible for your life? Okay. Now, maybe you do. I don't know. But for me, I don't. And I don't want people to be responsible for my life, so I'm not going to be responsible for theirs. I have no problem with helping them get the power back. I have no problem with even helping them realize that they can use and work with other people to get where they want to be in their lives. I have no problem with that. But I will not take responsibility for their lives or their experience beyond what's going on in the present moment. Mm-hmm. Okay, because in the present moment, I'm involved and I am responsible for the experience that I create. But when I'm not involved, for example, their decision to go get food, okay, I don't take responsibility for that. Mm-hmm. Right? I let them live that part of their lives. And people really appreciate the fact that they can just make these decisions. Because there are a lot of people who come to the retreats who don't realize they can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So true.
They don't realize they can make that choice.
Mm-hmm.
So now that they have that opportunity to do that, it's like they're reclaiming their lives back.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. What was different about this Sedona retreat that we just had compared to the other retreats?
So at the previous retreats, I focused very much on the individual. And I worked with the people, like I did a lot of one-on-one work during the previous retreats. Like when people would come to me and ask for help and I would help them with their particular thing. And that worked. But this time I saw an opportunity to do something different because it had presented itself during the retreat.
Oh.
And I had not had a plan for this. But while I was in the middle of I was doing a talk on the second day. And I was actually talking about what it was like for me to accept that I had a team of people that I worked with and this and other, like when I worked in my sales company,
Mm-hmm.
I got the opportunity to do that. And then it hit me. Why don't I give them the opportunity to see what that's like? Right? So then I created a scenario where everyone could do exactly what I did. And the response was amazing. It was so amazing because everyone got to see a glimpse of what I got to see when I had embraced working with others and not doing things on my own and this and other. It was like a really amazing experience to watch. They started a business that week because it was a 1 week retreat. They started a business and even got sales, right? From the time that they did. And they just needed a little guidance. So I would be like, and you would be like, and Mandy would also be like, okay, here, this is what you do. Here's how you move forward, this and another. And they, from the first week, they started getting sales and everyone was so excited and energized. And they wanted to make sure that they could keep doing that even after the retreat was over. Okay.
Yeah.
Had people even stay here longer, even after the retreat, so that they could keep doing it.
They're still here.
They're still here as of this recording. They're still here.
Yeah.
So it was such a amazing thing to see.
Yeah.
Right? That these people, they really just wanted an opportunity to know what it was like to be me, to do what I did. So it just happened to come up at the retreat. So I created that opportunity for them.
It's so wild how you literally will host a retreat, you'll book the place, people will come, and you will have no idea what the fuck is going to happen, and nobody cares. They just want to be there.
They just want to be there.
That is the coolest thing ever. And I think that's so liberating for business owners who may be listening to this and think that everything has to be so meticulously planned and thought out and branded a certain way. It does not.
No, what I've done for every retreat is I've iterated. I've added something new or I've removed something, right? For example, with this retreat, which was different than Greece, okay? For this retreat, I removed doing the dedicated one-on-one time with people, right? Like I removed that. And it's not to say that I didn't still talk to people one-on-one. It's just that I didn't dedicate time to it. So when people came to me, I would talk to them.
Yeah.
But I didn't go out of my way. So I removed that. But what was put in its place was this new team dynamic that they didn't have to go to me. They could go to you, or they could go to Mandy, or they could go to someone else. And so now people are getting to see what it is like to really be a part of a team, that everyone is able to carry their own weight. Right? And that people wanted to have responsibility. Some of these people would be the same people who would be like, well, I don't really want to do anything like that. But the moment they got a taste of that, it was a complete change.
Like, I actually love this.
Yeah.
This is the coolest thing ever.
So it's like for every one of the retreats I've done, I've just iterated. I'm like, okay. I saw this. What was I feeling? I wasn't feeling this. Okay, cool. That goes. I was feeling that. That stays. And then I just keep doing it over and over and over, iterating and iterating and iterating. I don't stick to the same formula. Every single retreat that we've done has been a completely different experience. Okay. And that's not gonna. That will. I guess we can say that won't change.
That's
It will
staying
not.
the same.
That will stay the same. The fact that every retreat will be different.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing all that. Is there anything you'd like to share at the end of this right now? Anything else for the audience about retreat hosting?
So if for any reason you decide, let's say you have a business or whatever, and you're a coach and you want to host retreats, or you want to do like these talks where you invite people, this is the same type of idea. Okay. If you're someone who is like that and you're just hung up on getting started and whatnot, the only advice I have to give you in that regard, actually I have two pieces of advice. The first piece of advice is you can reach out. Okay. I have no problem with helping you with that and getting you on the way. The second thing is don't be afraid to just fuck up. Like during the first retreat, if I had planned that retreat, because based on my experience of the retreat, if I had planned it, it would have been a disaster, right? It would have been a complete disaster because I would not have been able to keep up. Like I was having such a tough time keeping up as it was. And you may say, well, if you planned it, then you would have an easier time keeping up. No, me planning it, I didn't plan on 13 people showing up. In fact, people just started signing up at the last second, right? Like 3 people had actually signed up at the last second of the retreat. And I was like, oh boy, okay. So that, that was something I iterated where after that, I didn't let people do last minute signups anymore, right?
That's smart.
Yeah, I didn't let that happen anymore. I put a set date and that was it. Like this is the time that you get in or we're done.
Or we're done.
Right.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid to just do it because you may be surprised at how your community is willing to even help you come up with stuff that you can do that they find that would be interesting.
Yes.
See, like it's a collective effort. It's not just you. So be willing to be open to that. Like I didn't come up with all the ideas for the retreat on my own. In fact, it was based on what they were doing, what their experience was, where they were in their lives. Okay. And all I did was listen.
These themes would emerge throughout the retreats and everyone would kind of be bouncing off of each other. But thank you. How can people reach out to you if they'd like to talk to you?
You can find my email in the description of this video.
Okay.
So it'll be there. You can just send me an email. You can also just post in the comments and it'll get to me. So there's that as well.
Yes, we have our Phase 2 community available for you to join if you'd like even further help with all of this, a place for you to be around people who operate like this, if that's inspiring to you. That's also linked in the description.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
You can also find me in the community.
Yes, yeah, you can find all of us there. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel to keep up with future videos, and we'll see you next time.